Have a good day and welcome to this podcast of Atlas Sinensis. I am Aurelio Porfiri. Today I want to talk with you about a topic that is very dear to me and at the same time is a kind of frightening. This topic is Cantonese language. Very recently, I lived for more than 1 year in Hong Kong, and for the first time, indeed, I wanted to study seriously Cantonese language. As you may know, Cantonese language is the Chinese language that is used in the south of China, in the Canton area, and is used in Hong Kong and Macau. So, as some of you are aware, in the past, between 2008 and 2015, I live in Macau and I live and teach in Macau. So I have many possibilities to hear the language spoken. But I have to say that I learned only a little of the language. There are many reasons for this. Now I don't want to go into this reason. But now, in this recent trip that ended in the past April, I go to a school, and for almost a year, I tried to study Cantonese. Of course, 1 year is not a lot for a language, but at least is something to know more. So I have to say that I really appreciated the kindness of most of my teachers that really were very patient in trying to teach me and to make me to progress and improve in my skills. But in this podcast, I want to give you 3 reasons why you should and you should not study Cantonese. Because for me, there are very good reasons why you should study the language, but there are very good reasons that maybe should prevent you to study the same language. So I want to say at the beginning that I really like Cantonese. I like Cantonese much more than I like Mandarin. I think that Cantonese is a very elegant and beautiful language, but I can not hide the fact that it's a kind of tricky language. And I use tricky, but I may use other words. So I start with the 3 reasons. The first reason is about the tones. The tones, as you know, are one of the main feature of Chinese language. If you learn Mandarin, you learn basically 4 tones. What is the meaning of this? The meaning is that you have a syllable, and this syllable change the meaning according to the kind of tone or inflection you are giving to the same syllable. So you may say the syllable ma, but if you pronounce this syllable with a different inflection, maybe with a rising tone or with a lowering tone or with a low tone, so the meaning change completely. So it means that you may learn the syllable that is associated to certain words, but you have also to learn the tone that is associated with that meaning, or the other people will not understand. And this is one of the difficulties because, as I say, in Mandarin, you have 4 tones, but in Cantonese, you have 6. Indeed, they should be 9, but the most used are 6. So it means that you have a syllable, we say again ma, and according to the way you pronounce the syllable, the meaning change completely. So this is not the same for many other languages. Even if you mispronounce certain words in English or in Italian, the people can still understand you. But that's not the case with Cantonese. I have many times the experience of talking in Cantonese with other people, pronouncing the correct Chinese words for what I wanted to say, but the people look at me very puzzled because, of course, I didn't catch correctly that tone. So, this is fascinating. The tones are fascinating, but they are also terrible because I can assure you that certain times you are struggling with the tones, and these tones become a kind of nightmare. The second reason is about the spoken and the written. As we all know, Chinese use the symbols to represent the meaning of what they want to say. And the Chinese writing is really fascinating, really hugely fascinating. When I see Chinese writing, I always remain really well impressed uh, on a aesthetic point of view. I really like those signs, and I can tell you also that these signs are also fascinating if you know the story behind some of them. Some of them are very, very ancient signs that, of course, develop in what are the modern signs. But you may say, oh, okay, we learn to speak Cantonese, then we may also learn how to write. But indeed, it's not so easy because when you write, certain phrase basically use another kind of words that of course mean the same thing. So when you speak, you use a uh, certain syllable, but when you write for the same meaning, you have to use another one. I remember my frustration when I started to learn a little more about Cantonese, and I tried to write some phrases, and my teacher that look at me, I think also she sympathizes with me because she knew that for me that was a kind of terrible discover. And they say, oh, and she say, oh yes, this is okay for the spoken language, but not for the written. And so I asked her, I said, but sorry, but these differences between the spoken and the written are many. And she said, yes, they were the majority of the words are written with other kind of sounds or syllables than they are spoken. So uh, I know that is maybe not very easy to understand, but you have to immerse yourself in the language to understand also the struggle of doing something like that. The third reason is this, that even if you may speak quite well, uh, and so you can also understand what the other people are saying, but still you may understand very little because in Cantonese there are lots of abbreviations and lots of conventions in the language that if you don't know them, even if you know a lot of words, but you may not know what the other people are telling. These are abbreviations are in many fields. For example, the numbers. I still remember the terror in my face when my teacher explained me about the abbreviations in the numbers. And also, please, uh, you have to know that at that point, I learned to count in Cantonese. I learned all the numbers. I can count until a certain extent. Even I learned hundreds and thousands. But then the teacher told to me how you say this kind of number. And so I say the way I know, I knew, and I thought that was right to say, oh no, but we didn't say exactly like this, but we use this kind of short form. I can assure you, I was so frustrated that sometimes I wanted to cry, but I didn't. So this, I have to say, I'm also very proud that I didn't cry. But I struggle and struggle trying to get the most of this fascinating but also kind of scary language. So thank you very much. If you are also studying Chinese or know something about Chinese, let me know your opinion. You can comment wherever you are listening to this podcast. Thank you very much and bye bye.